So we're gonna continue our project by proceeding to our view emails. So each of this single email must be accessed inside, and we generate another view or another detailed page for this email. So right now, as you can see in our dev tools, every time we create, there is an uncaught reference error saying view email is not defined. This is normal because once we see here in our code, view email is the last part that we created, and this is yet to be created. Right now, let's create this. This will become same indentation as our function. So what are we gonna do first is to create a function wherein it accepts the email ID for that row and target the IDs of our views and make the display as none. Then next, we're going to display our email view. And we just recently created it here in our inbox HTML template. Then we reset our old email content. This is actually blank, but since we need to check if we really are accessing what's inside, we put this as IDs. Then we're gonna create a get request for our fetch, getting the details of our ID that has been clicked. And since we are calling this fetch API, we need to turn this into promise or async await somehow. Let's add this async prefix for our function. Then we're gonna use try catch. Now let's just say the error is console.log. Then we're gonna proceed with our function fetch, and it's with a backtick. Our URLs indicates that when you access a specific email, this should be the URL emails, then an integer. So meaning this is emails slash our ID that has been passed down. Since this is an async, this must be await. Enclose inside a variable, say response. Then that result we're gonna wrap up again, and we're gonna call this into a variable called, and let's see log. Let's see. Oh, the reason why I'm having this error is because I forgot to put an await. Let's retry again this one. Once we click a single row, now it shows our object, meaning we get and we successfully fetch the details of our specific ID, and we're gonna map out these keys and render dynamic HTML here in our page. We're gonna say this is our email container, wherein we create an element called div let's call this container, and we're gonna use inner HTML to map out every email details that we have here. Let's try this. So once we click here, it does not show. Why? Oh, this happens because we forget to append it to our parent. So we must, or this code written as what, how did we name this one? Email view. Let's call this email view dot append our container. Once we have this, let's see. Now moves. So we're still pasting our ID here. Oh, this is the body. Since now that works later, we're gonna put a placeholder here for our archive and an archive button. Then our reply button. Also our back button. Let's also show this error on inner HTML. Let's say we have an h3, then let's close this h3 tag and let's try. Later on we will do these logics, the back button, the archive, and the reply, but for now, what's missing in here? There's a functionality here inside that every time we click, since we are clicking this single row, we must update this entry in our database to be marked as read. So if you will see here in our admin, let's just go to our models. If you see here in our models, there is this key that we say as read. This read is a boolean field which is false always when we start creating this email row, meaning every time that we click, just like in normal emails, when we click email, it must be read true, meaning the person who logged in now has read the email. So in normal setup, we see it as colored as like changing in colors, like alternating white or gray if it's red. So how are we gonna do that? So after this, just below our email ID that has been successfully retrieved, I mean our email row details that has been successfully fetched, will create another call for a fetch, wherein we again enclose this into a backticks and call our emails. We're gonna call this method as put. Put means update. Then to our body, it must have a put method, and also we update the read as true. Now going to our views.py, we call this email function labeled, called inside this route views.email. So here in our email views.email function, there is this code that checks if the request method is put. Since we put here true, put method is put, we're gonna execute this code. So we get the body. Inside the body, there is a key that is read, which is here. Then we update our email row. Django handles this. Django ORM handles this updating of email row for us. Now this has been read as true. If we're going to check our backend, our admin, this subject 15 has been updated. Let's log in. Let's check for our emails. Here in our emails, in our object, subject 15, body is 15. So for our mark as read being checked, if this is true, we're gonna access our email attribute which is read and show if this is true or false. And after the fetch of put, let us also call this again. And let's see. Let's see these calls. We call first red is false, and after the execution, red is still false. Why is this happening? Here I thought once I console.log, this is automatically false, but after this fetch, this must be read as true. We put a mistake in our fetch. Parenthesis must be here. Closing parenthesis. Once we retry this, I think this now works. Red as false, then after the update, red is still false. Apparently it works. It's just that the old cache data is not being updated. We just need to hard refresh and delete the old cache so it loads the new.